as I observe the people in my life, like this one word keeps popping up, and it is accountability. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Judita, and on this channel, we talk about all things mindset. We talk about your goals, your dreams, your insecurities, your fears, all the things that go into creating your dream life, because I'm trying to do the same thing. So trust me when I say that I get it. Okay. Today, I want to talk about something that has been coming up a lot lately, especially for like the clients that I'm working with. And then just like as I observe the people in my life, like this one word keeps popping up, and it is accountability. The reason why I want to talk about accountability is because accountability is like where your power lies. I define accountability as your ability to accept responsibility for the things that are going on in your life, right? That's what I think accountability is. It's your ability to take responsibility for things that even seem a little bit out of your control. It's just always looking for a way to figure out, how can I do better? What can I do about this? Where does my power lie in this situation, right? And when you are creating your dream life, accountability is key because it goes hand in hand with self-awareness. Like when you are more self-aware, it's easier for you to be accountable. Here are some ways where accountability shows up for me, and it might be showing up for you too. I have found that my relationship got way better, like way more smooth, way more calm, way more loving, way more just like my dream relationship when I started to take accountability. When I started to take accountability for my actions, for the things that I say, for the way that I act, like regardless of how my partner is acting, right? Or behaving or whatever they're doing, right? And what I mean by this is, let's say, for example, I want the kind of man who respects me, right? A man who wants to understand me, a man who wants to understand my love languages, a man who wants to take me out and do all these nice things. Like a man who, like, whatever it is, like if this is the type of man that I want, the way that I take accountability in my relationship so that my boyfriend feels comfortable being that type of man is, I ask myself, like, okay, if I want that type of man, what kind of woman do I have to become in order to attract that type of man? Or what kind of woman do I have to be in order for my boyfriend to feel like, oh, this is the kind of man that he needs to be because as a result of the type of woman that I am? I hope that makes sense, right? And you can even look at this like when it comes to your friendships, right? I was speaking with one of my clients the other day, and she was telling me how one of her good friends that she fell out with, like she was deciding whether or not she wanted to bring that person back into her life. And I told her, I basically was like, well, I know it's hard for you to make a decision, especially when it comes to someone that you consider a best friend, someone that you consider yourself to be really, really, really close to. So my advice to her was, if you want to accept this person back into your life and you want to give them a second chance, go ahead and do that. But something that I really, really wanted her to look at was, look at who you're being within this friendship. I told her that if she really wants to see if this person belongs in her life, all she has to do is take accountability for what she can, right? So I told her to look back at every argument she's ever had and see what she did wrong. I told her to look back at every action she's taken and see how she could have been better, right? Or said something better. And I was just like, listen, when you really, really want to know what people belong in your life and what people don't belong there, your only job is to just become the best version of you, right? Your only job is to evolve into the next best version of you. Because listen, as you are evolving, there are certain people that are going to evolve too, right? There are certain people in your life who's going to see the changes that you're making, and they're going to be like, damn, I want to grow too, right? Or they'll just learn from you. They'll see how you're taking responsibility. They'll see how you're changing your mind. So it's just like, there's those people, and then there's a type of people who will like be jealous. There's a type of people who will look at you and be like, you acting all brand new, why you acting different? Like, this is not the person that I used to know. Like, there are those two types of people. And I told her, as you grow, as you change, as you evolve, as your idea of what your dream life is evolves and changes because you're changing, just see how that friend reacts to your changes. When you are purposely being the best version of yourself and you are showing up that way in your friendship, and somehow it feels like that friendship is still draining, or it feels like that other person just doesn't understand you, or it feels like they're just not growing, or they just don't get you, that is your sign that that person is no longer for you, right? I personally would not entertain any type of relationship that I feel like is draining me or isn't serving me, especially if I know I'm being the best version of myself that I can be. Now, being the best version of yourself that you can be is subjective, right? But what I really mean is, just try to treat people how you want to be treated. Try to talk to people the way that you want to be talked to, right? When it comes to arguments, when it comes to disagreements, try to see the other person's side as much as possible, right? Try to be accountable in every situation, even if it's very, very hard for you to take responsibility in an argument, or for you to say, you know what, I was wrong for the way that I said that. Like, you have to find a way to make your spirit bigger than your ego in your relationships. And when you do that, it becomes so much easier to weed out who belongs with and around you and who doesn't, right? So your only job is to keep on growing, and the people that belong in your life will grow with you, and the people that don't, they will for sure fall away. Okay, so that's one way that I know accountability, like being accountable in your friendships. And like I said, you can apply this to your romantic relationships as well. All you have to do is work on becoming the best version of yourself. All you have to do is work on figuring out, is there anything that I could have done better? Like, it doesn't even matter how much that person hurts you, right? Now, the next way that you want to be taking accountability in your life is just when it comes to life circumstances in general, right? When it comes to things that challenge you, things that don't make you feel good. The way that you become accountable is that you look at everything that you feel is a challenge, and you ask yourself, like, what could this be teaching me, right? Like, what decisions did I make that possibly resulted in this outcome? Always try to put it back on yourself, because let me tell you, when you take accountability, life doesn't feel like it's just happening to you. You don't feel like a victim anymore. You don't feel powerless anymore, right? And this is the whole purpose and the reason for this video. This is why I'm telling you, start to take accountability for exactly where you are, because your choices led you here, right? And I like to say that there are going to be circumstances outside of your control. Like, you can't always predict how other people are going to act. You can't always predict what life might throw at you. However, you can always choose to see, how can I be responsible in this moment? Like, what do I have control of? What decisions can I make to lighten the load, the burden, whatever I feel? Okay, because that is what the challenges in your life is there to teach you. And they become easier to deal with when you become accountable for them, right? When you become accountable for what happens next. So if you don't take anything else from this video, just remember that you have control when you take accountability. Like, when you say, it's not that person's fault for why I'm upset, it's actually, there's something within me that I need to figure out why that person can make me so upset, right? Or it's not all those people's fault why these relationships didn't work out. Maybe if I loved myself more, maybe if I respected myself more, I wouldn't have put up with that in the first place, right? It's not always your fault, but it is your responsibility always to figure out what you can do to make life better for yourself, right? And that's what life is all about. So when you start taking accountability, you also start to feel more powerful. Okay, that's the second most important thing. You start to move like you actually have power over your life, and you have power over what happens next. And the third takeaway that I want you to remember is that when you are accountable, you realize that there are so many more choices that you can make, right? You don't feel as if this roadblock means that there is nothing you can do. You don't let challenges be the thing that stop you, okay? When you are accountable, you always find a way. You always aim to be the next best version of yourself. And accountability is all about making sure that your ego does not outweigh your spirit. So I really want you to just take some time to think about everything in your life, and think about where you could be more accountable. Like, at your job, maybe you might be unsatisfied or unfulfilled with your job, but it's like, okay, it's not my job's fault that I feel this way, so how can I be more accountable for where I am, right? It could be in your romantic relationships, in your friendships, just in life in general. Anywhere where it feels like things aren't going right, just start to take accountability and realize that you have a choice about what happens next. Okay, that is it for today's video. I hope it was helpful. I hope you bloom today. Make sure that you subscribe, comment, and like. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if there's any area of your life where you're like, damn, I need to start being more accountable here. Okay, and I will see you guys on the next one.